Come and sew my first project of the year with me. Raise your hand if you struggle with the first full week back in the new year. It just kind of feels like this weird space. Is it called like liminal space? Is that the right usage? Anyway, I knew that diving into the brand new Evanston Vest pattern from Love Notions would be the perfect way to start my sewing year off on the right foot. First things first, I turned on the lights in my office and got ready for my day. And I needed to check on our current 30% off site-wide sale that you can take advantage of with code NEWYEAR30. You can grab some patterns and some good sewing courses to fuel the rest of your 2025 sewing year. I also needed to print out the next page of our Sewing Toolkit, which is the free resource that you can get when you use that code and purchase a regular price pattern and get 30% off. You'll get this toolkit added to your account for free, only with the code NEWYEAR30. This planning kit, this toolkit has a bunch of documents inside of it that will help you stay organized and productive and really enjoy your sewing process because there won't be so much frustration. So take a look at the sewing toolkit to help you this year with sewing. I'm actually printing mine out and laminating every one of the resources so that I can continually use them throughout my sewing projects and reuse them over and over again and just have it laminated and hanging in my sewing area so that it's just a quick access for me. After that's laminated, I am going to take my measurements, which is something I should do at the beginning of every project, and then use my dry erase marker so that I can wipe those off for my next project and just make this a continually reusable source. I'm also going to make a note to add Evanston Vest, our new pattern, to the pattern library sheet on our resource guide. I would definitely say that this pattern is on the very easy side on the Love Notions spectrum. It's now in our library, and I hope to get mine sewn today. I'm hoping to make 2 versions actually, so I hope that you add it to your library and sew one up with me soon too. If you're keeping track of the favorite features on our pattern library chart, I just love the options that are involved in this pattern. There is a button placket, there's a cowl neckline, a V neckline, a scoop neckline. There is multiple links that you can sew, and it's just the amount of options for a vest. It's just really great. The other tool that I'm just going to take a look at to reference really quickly too, I haven't sewn one up yet, so I'm not going to be able to look at my wrinkles or anything, but I do want to look at the ease because I just want to make sure that when I compare my measurements to the finished pattern measurements inside of the pattern tutorial, that those all feel great. Now I'm going to take a look at yesterday's new resource. On Thursday, we let drop the project planning sheet, and I'm going to use that to just kind of organize my thoughts so that I make sure I have everything I need and that I've got a plan in place to get me through this sewing project with very little frustration. And I just kind of, sometimes it's great to just get your thoughts down about what you want this project to do, about what supplies you need, about what fabric you're planning to use. And sometimes just picking those things is half the battle when it comes to a sewing project, and getting that all down on paper just makes the project go smoother. You're not having to go to the store because you forgot something, and you're got your sizing and your measurements all in one place so that you can make your pattern size selections and think about what adjustments that you need to do. And so that's the reason why we included this project plan sheet inside of our sewing toolkit, because it's just the next step in the process. And as I'm thinking through this project, I realized I want to sew 2 different versions. I want to take advantage of that button placket version and sew the high hip length, but I also really want to sew that drapey cowl neck vest. I think I have a spot in my closet that's going to be perfect for that. So I'm actually going to be working with 2 different fabrics, I think, thinking through like the fabric guide and all of that stuff. I think I want to do 2 different pieces. And again, as I'm putting all my thoughts together for this, I also realized that the great thing about this pattern is that it requires so little fabric. For sizes extra small to extra large, you're going to need basically a yard for many of the views, and then at most, many of the high hip views are going to need 1.25 yards. So for the cowl neck view and for the button placket view, I'm only going to need 1.25 yards. So such a great way to use up all the fabric that I have in my stash. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think my final picks for fabric were from Boho Fabrics, and I believe that there was one that was from Sincerely Riley. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's where I got them. One of the things that I love about this Evanston Vest pattern is that it is absolutely perfection for sweater knit right now. So if you have sweater knit pieces in your stash, you need to be sewing this for sure. Also, did anyone notice how terrible the cover stitching looks on my boyfriend cardigan that I'm wearing today? I have probably had this sewn up for like, I don't know, maybe 5 years, and it has gone through the ringer. So frankly, I'm glad that it's held up this long. All right, next thing to do is to take a look at the fabric that I have in my stash. I have tons of sweater knit and other fabrics that would be great for this pattern. And I'm just kind of going through and deciding, will this work in my closet? Does this have the right kind of stretch? Is this something I want to sew right now? And I've got some cotton spandex here. I've got some brushed sweater knit. I have just a couple of like rib knits, and I'm just trying to think through, is this fabric something I'm going to want later? A lot of these will totally work really, really well, but they're just not, none of these are really striking me right now. So hopefully I can find something that I really love. Okay, I have actually found 2 fabrics that I think will be perfect. The first one is this. This is a sweater knit, but it's a very tightly woven sweater knit. It's got this geometric print on it, which I think is really cool, but it's really stable, like you can see from the stretch and recovery. And it has really great stretch 2-way, but its 4-way stretch is almost non-existent. Like its vertical stretch is like almost just mechanical. So I think that'll be great for the sweater or the button up version, which has like a lot more details to it. And then I also found this very loose weave sweater knit. Its 4-way stretch is not significant, and it has a lot of drapiness to it, which I think will be great for the cowl. So this is a kind of like a glittery sweater knit, and it's going to be perfect for that. So I'm just going to now get all of my pattern pieces ready and adjusted. Like I said before, I'm going to be doing an adjustment to go from blending sizes. So at the waist, I'm going to go from a large, and then at the hip, I'm going to go to extra large. So now I have all my pattern pieces ready to go. I'm going to cut out my fabric, and I'm going to get to sewing right away. Actually, I have to kind of like clean up first because our sewing studio is kind of a mess. I made my new sewing resolution to make sure that I clean up after every sewing session. That's going to be a really important resolution for me to try to keep this year because I share the sewing space with Tammy, and we have different machines, but you know, it's nice to keep things in order. Well, check in with me and see how I do keeping that resolution. Did you make a sewing resolution this year? I'd love to hear it. Just drop me one, what you decided on in the comments. So I'm already quite a bit of the way through here, but one of the things that you might want to think about when it comes to sewing the Evanston Vest, and especially with a loose weave sweater knit, is stabilizing your seams, especially stabilizing the shoulder seams. That's going to be really crucial. I wouldn't worry so much about like the vertical seams, but I am going to be putting some this tape. It's almost like a little ribbon, very, very thin little ribbon tape inside of my seam here for the Evanston, made out of a loose knit sweater knit. This vest, especially if you are not doing the button placket version, but even then, this vest is so fast to sew up. If you are looking for something to just kind of like reignite your sewing journey, or even just to like, I don't know, like awaken it for beginners, this is such a great pattern for that. So I really hope that you take a look at getting it and adding it to your library. Another little tiny trick that I have for sewing with a loose weave sweater knit like this is just to always baste my seams first. It is so easy for this kind of fabric to get chewed up by the serger. So it's better to start off at the sewing machine and then move over to the serger for nearly every single step of the way. And it just is easier on your serger, and I think it results in just a much smoother project overall. Also making another resolution to start always incorporating a little tag inside of my makes. I just think it's such a nice touch. Ordered a huge collection of these Love Notions tags, and if you're going to be going to the Sew Expo in February in Puyallup, Washington this year, come and see us at the Love Notions booth because we'll be giving away some of these for free. Also, I did create that black and white geometric button-up placket version. I didn't show much of the sewing of that pattern, but it went together really, really easily as well. All right, now it's the moment of truth. It is fit check time. I definitely wore my comfiest clothes today, just some black leggings and a black t-shirt, and they are so perfect for both of these vests that I've got. So I think it just shows that it's just the perfect layering piece on the outside. It doesn't really matter what you're wearing below or underneath. This vest is going to take care of it. Does anyone else feel like most of the time you're doing your fit check, you're just like finding stray threads all over yourself? Because that has been my experience. But I am so thrilled with this make, with both of these makes. So here is my first one, the button placket with the geometric print and the more tightly woven sweater knit that had very minimal vertical stretch, but 50% probably of horizontal stretch. This does have a hemband below it, which might be hard to see because of the print here. And it also has that placket that goes all the way up and around the neckline. It has armbands here, and I just think it is such a professional looking piece. I am so happy with how it turned out. It fits perfectly. Just could not be more excited about this make and about wearing it just all through this winter season into spring. And like I said before, the options on this pattern are my favorite thing. So these are the same pattern. That button placket vest is the same pattern as this plain front vest with a really lovely cowl neck. So I hope that you take a look at all of the options that this pattern has inside of it. To start with, it comes in sizes extra small to 5X. It has pocket options for both of the lengths. It has two lengths, high hip and below the hip, for a little bit of a longer version. There are actually 4 necklines. The button placket, there's a V neck, a cowl, and just a standard scoop neck. So I hope you take advantage of the site-wide sale that ends today. You can get 30% off of all of regular price patterns using code NEWYEAR30. And with that code, you're also going to get the Sewing Toolkit freebie. I think we're also going to try to embed that in a way so that you can get the toolkit with any Evanston Vest purchase as well. But don't quote me on that yet. We're going to try to make sure that is like a seamless process for you as much as possible. But I just think that getting set for the new year, this is going to fuel your best sewing year yet, and I can't wait to help you be a part of it. So stay tuned with Love Notions, subscribe here, drop us a comment about what you think about our new pattern, about what you picked up in this sale, about any of the resources that you have seen or that you would like to see from Love Notions. And make sure that you check back next week on our YouTube channel for the full lookbook for all of the tester versions of the new Evanston Vest. And thanks for sewing my first make of the year with me today. I look forward to many more. It looks like Lincoln's ready to head home, so I better get going. We're so thankful that you're here with us, and we can't wait to continue sewing with you in the future. Bye.